Today, I received an email from Eliza, a mum who wanted to share her experience with bottle feeding with us. Thank you, Eliza, for sharing this. I had to translate it because, being her Italian, she wrote it in Italian. Bottle feeding testimony. My breastfeeding experience with my first child was very challenging. Although I was determined to exclusively breastfeed for as long as possible, there were many difficulties from the beginning. Although I kept him latching on almost without a break, and the midwives told me that he was latching on properly, he kept losing weight and crying all the time. We tried lactation consultants, doctors, midwives, until we found out that he had a short frenulum, which they said could be the cause of his difficulty in expressing milk. We did a small operation to solve the problem, but it had no effect on the success of breastfeeding. Since it was clear that breastfeeding alone could not continue, we eventually put the bottle with powdered milk in after each breastfeed in. From there, the baby flourished again, started to regain the weight he had lost, and was well. Despite my attempts to continue giving him my milk as well, I stopped after 3 months of trying. Despite the happy ending of a growing and well baby, I experienced the use of powdered milk as a failure. The narrative around formula feeding is very negative. My midwife and many other midwives seem to suggest that all mothers can breastfeed, and those who fail, well, it's because deep down they don't want it, or they don't want it enough, or they have not been advised in the right way. You feel guilty when they say that breastfeeding strengthens your relationship with your child and you think you are depriving them of something. You feel guilty when people who don't know you ask, why don't breastfeeding him if you take out of a bottle in public? You feel guilty when he gets sick in kindergartens, nurseries, because the pediatricians say it is because he did not get enough of your milk as a baby. Of course, breastfeeding is important, and it's right to encourage women to do it, but it is equally important not to blame those who can't or won't do this. I'm always very concerned about my friends who become mothers for the first time and they are facing these problems, because I know it can be a very difficult situation and you end up living it alone with a lot of tiredness and a sense of inadequacy. I used to find breastfeeding much more comfortable than bottle feeding, but the general narrative is that bottle feeding is more comfortable than breastfeeding, and that somehow those who resort to it also do it out of laziness. I think this can only be said by those who have never woken up in the middle of the night, balloon sterilizing, cooling a milk powder while your baby's crying, instead of immediately attaching it to the breast in the warmth of your bed. I think a common narrative more focused on the psychophysical well-being of both mother and baby is important. In my experience, it would have been important to be told you are doing the right thing, or there is nothing to feel guilty about, instead of feeling judged as mothers who took a shortcut of convenience. Thank you again, Eliza, for sharing this very important message. We need to try to respect different opinions, different choices. As long as the babies are happy and healthy, we should try to support each other as mothers, as humans.